The whispering shadows of Rajpur. In the sleepy foothill town of Rajpur, nestled between Dehradun and Mussoorie, strange things often danced in the shadows. But no one spoke of them. Not aloud, anyway. It was the summer of 2020 when Arav, a 22-year-old software engineering student, returned to his ancestral home with his father after months away in Delhi. Their house, a large, aging structure from the British era, sat alone on a slope, surrounded by forest and silence. The moment they stepped inside, Arav felt it, an oppressive stillness, like the air itself was holding its breath. His father, Mr. Raghav Verma, a pragmatic retired army officer, dismissed it. The house has been closed for too long. It's just dust and echoes. But Arav knew better. That night, while setting up his old bedroom, Arav noticed the glass lamp by the window swaying gently, though the air was still. Shrugging it off, he went to sleep. He awoke at 2:47 a.m., not to sound, but to silence. A silence so deep it felt alive. And then, he heard it. Soft, barely perceptible footsteps in the corridor outside his room. He froze. The floorboards creaked with weight, as though someone was slowly walking barefoot. They stopped right outside his door. He stared at the door handle, heart pounding. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. Finally, summoning courage, he flung open the door. Empty. The corridor was pitch black. Only the ticking of the hall clock broke the stillness. He flipped on the lights. Nothing. Trying to rationalize it, he returned to bed. Maybe it was his father? But Mr. Verma had a limp. These steps were smooth, fluid, and light. The following day, Arav told his father. Mr. Verma laughed it off. "Son, I've seen worse than shadows. Don't let your imagination win." But that night, Arav slept with a flashlight under his pillow. The second night, things escalated. At 3 a.m., he woke to the smell of wet earth and roses, a scent tied deeply to his late grandmother, who died in that very house when Arav was 10. He looked around. Nothing. But then, he saw her. For a second, just a second, standing at the end of the hallway. A tall woman in a white sari, her face veiled by her long, flowing hair. She didn't move. She just watched. Arav's breath caught in his throat. He rubbed his eyes. When he looked again, she was gone. Terrified, he rushed to his father's room, only to find Mr. Verma asleep and unharmed. Too proud to admit he was scared, he stayed in the room pretending to be awake just to check in. By the third night, it was undeniable. The activity grew bold. Objects moved, a chair dragged across the floor by itself in broad daylight. The family's old cuckoo clock started chiming at 3:33 a.m. It hadn't worked in years. One evening, Arav stepped into the storeroom to find all the photos of his grandmother turned face down. Some were scratched as though clawed. He finally convinced his father to consult someone, a local priest, Pandit Harsh, visited the next day. The moment he stepped into the house, he grew visibly pale. After walking through the halls, he said quietly, "There's a presence here. Not malevolent, but restless, trapped. He performed a brief cleansing ritual, but warned, "This house carries memory, like old wood carries termites. You may have stirred something by returning." Mr. Verma finally confessed. His mother, Arav's grandmother, had died under strange circumstances. She suffered from mental illness, and on a rainy night in 1998, she disappeared from the house. Her body was found a week later in the forest. Some said she was lured. Some said she went willingly. The house had been closed for years after that. Suddenly, everything clicked. Arav understood. The footsteps, the scent, the woman in white. His grandmother wasn't at peace. They held a proper ceremony, offering prayers and closure, and for a while, things calmed down. But the house never fully returned to normal. Even now, when Arav visits, the air still hums at night. The cuckoo clock, long removed, is sometimes heard faintly echoing from an empty wall. And if you walk past the hallway at exactly 2:47 a.m., they say you might still see her, just standing, watching, waiting.